The Palestine Liberation Organization took what could be a giant step towards peace in the Middle East today. In a landmark decision, the PLO has formally declared that Israel has a legitimate right to exist. The PLO also renounced terrorism in any form and declared the creation of the Palestinian state in the territories now occupied by Israel. The declaration, which is seen as a victory for PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat, was co-written by Palestinian-American professor Edward Said.
People say that there should be and ought to be and hope to be two states living in peaceful coexistence with each other in normal circumstances.
If the PLO's planned Land for Peace proposal is accepted, borders would have to be negotiated by an international peace conference. So far, the U.S. State Department is holding comment on the declaration. However, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir is commenting. Today, he flatly rejected any suggestion of peace talks with the PLO. He's more concerned at the moment with staying Prime Minister. Israeli President Chaim Herzog today gave Shamir his blessing to form a new government. He will do it with the help of Israel's religious parties. They gave him his winning edge, but not before he promised to back a number of religious causes. Most importantly, that people who want to become Jews must be converted by strictly Orthodox rabbis. That doesn't sit well with Israel's non-religious majority, which doesn't want rabbis running things. Shamir has 3 weeks to form his new government, but it's still anyone's guess as to who will make up his cabinet. President-elect George Bush is wrapping up 4 days of vacation in Florida before returning to work in Washington. At a beachfront news conference, Bush tried to calm world fears in the financial market about his forthcoming presidency.
It's built around policy coordination and exchange market stability. These are words of art. That's the policy of the existing administration. It will be the policy of the George Bush administration.
Asked about reports he'll announce this week that Treasury Secretary Nicholas Brady will stay on in his administration, the president-elect didn't deny it. Bush returns to the Capitol tomorrow. The U.S. ambassador to Japan is calling it quits. Mike Mansfield, who was appointed by Jimmy Carter and kept on by President Reagan, is retiring. He's been ambassador to Japan a record 11.5 years. The first unmanned Soviet space shuttle is in space tonight. The space shuttle Buran was launched around 9 o'clock Central Time. There were fears that high winds and ice would halt the launch for the second time. It was aborted 51 seconds before liftoff 16 days ago. And today's dress rehearsal for the crew of the Space Shuttle Atlantis is being called a success. The shuttle's not scheduled to blast off until late this month or early next month, but the crew and launch team ran through a smooth test countdown at Cape Canaveral. The Atlantis will deploy a secret military payload, which is believed to be a spy satellite. It will be the second shuttle mission since the Challenger disaster in 1986. This balmy weather we're having may soon give way to a few thunder showers. Jim's coming up in a moment with tomorrow's forecast and the 5-day outlook, so stay tuned.
What if it were possible to combine the room and comfort of a sedan with
It is the wrong fix for what has not clearly been identified a problem. Can you imagine 4 million transportation people being tested and the number of false positives that are going to come out of that when we don't even know that there's a problem in the industry?
Karen Stone, ABC News, Washington.
Went out here.
The U.S. Supreme Court says a husband cannot stop his wife from having an abortion. The High Court today upheld a ruling from the Indiana Supreme Court that said a husband cannot stop his wife from exercising her constitutional right to an abortion. The husband had argued for an exception on a case-by-case basis. The couple is divorcing and the abortion has already taken place. After nearly 19 hours of deliberations over 4 days, a jury in the tax evasion and obstruction of justice trial of former MSU coach Dana Kirk has not reached a verdict. If convicted, Kirk could face up to 52 years in prison and more than $750,000 in fines. The trial is now in its 10th week, and jurors are paid $35 plus meals and transportation money for each day they work. Mayor Dick Hackett has named his choice for city sanitation director. Tonight at a town hall meeting in Fraser, Hackett named 43-year-old Bob Pepper to the $60,000 a year job. Pepper has been a city employee for 13 years, most recently as purchasing agent. Pepper also worked in the sanitation department in the late 70s and early 80s.
First one that come to mind, of course, is the ongoing problem with solid waste disposal. That's something we'll be looking at. I think the day-to-day collections with the implementation of the curbside cart systems are superlative.
Pepper's name will now go to the City Council for confirmation. If passed, he'll replace Larry Harrelson, who is now Treasury Director. The Palestine Liberation Organization is paving the way towards peace in the Middle East.